WMOA, AM 1490 and FM 101.3.
This year's Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame will induct 6 new members this year, and we're honored to be joined by Kenneth Charles Mead, an inductee this year from the class of 1966. He goes by KC Mead, and it's exciting to talk to you, and I'm so happy for you in this honor.
Do me a favor. When you look at the yearbook,
okay.
Nobody in Marietta knows me as Kenneth Charles.
All right, very good.
They know me as KC. That's period, end of comment. And to be honest with you, when somebody calls me Kenneth Charles, I know they don't know me. I moved there when I was 8 years old with Dad. Dad became the head coach at Marietta College. And one of my favorite stories to tell is the fact the first person I met was a guy by the name of Bill Robinson. You know Bill, obviously, but Bill was the Marietta Times. He came over to the house as we moved there in June of 1957. I grew up in this beautiful place that nobody knows about. It's like a myth. It's like one of these beautiful places you never want to imagine. It's a great college town. And my dad just happened to be the head coach of Marietta football. And I had the privilege of being 8 years old and meeting Bill Robinson and listening to Bill, Dad, his assistant head coach, Tom Stubbs, strategize, talk about people, talk about who's going to fit, who's not going to fit when they're talking about recruiting for Marietta College. Now, this is long before, obviously, I never got to the high school. Dad was a great coach. He was a great guy, and he was absolutely one of those people that listened. And when Bill found, somebody to listen, and then he'll talk. And I grew up listening to Bill. And when I became a senior, it's 1965. It's me, it's Dick Siley, it's Ricky Wells, it's Steve Becker, it's Mike Bonnet. Dave Bonnet was his brother, Barry Burke, and Jerry Smith. We're talking about Ted Wendelken, Bill LaBar. And it was a beautiful, beautiful group of people. Bill didn't think we could do anything. I don't know why. I have no idea. But having grown up with him, I knew he had an opinion. And the funny thing is, my mom and he really got to know each other really well. All I know is he put out this article, and you could actually look it up. It's in the Times, someplace back there in 65. It was prognostication for our 65 high school football team. And he's telling the world in his article, and you can look it up, that we may win 2 games.
Wow.
You don't know that my life revolves around Kenny and Abenel. And Abenel's my mother. And when Bill did that, she went after him. But it was funny. It was so funny. And I think we ended up going, I forget what it was, 7-3, 6-4. Yeah, we won 3 games out of the gate. The fun thing about that was the fact he never recanted. he never, but he did do one thing. I got to tell you this, because he's in the Hall of Fame. And he has to be, because for the High School Hall of Fame to have, this guy was the dude. He was the man. He knew everybody and everything of it. And I loved knowing him. And the point was, we wanted to prove him wrong. We put that thing up on the bulletin board. Now, this is guys, this is 1965. And we put it up on our bulletin board, and we wanted to prove him wrong.
That's something else.
Just one of those things where the guy, it's been so long, but I just remember him being, everybody went with what he said. And that's it, period. And except for my father and me.
The gospel according to Bill Robinson.
There it is. There it is. I mean,
hey, real quick, let me shift gears with you a little bit, because I find it interesting, you being a 3-sport athlete and your transition from football to wrestling and the way that all got underway.
Dick Corey took me aside when I was a freshman. It was after our freshman year in football, and he decided. I don't think it was just him. I think it was Bill and Jim Pugh too. That they decided that they needed me to learn leverage. I got 12 letters. Okay, I would never, ever, ever, ever have gotten this if he wouldn't have taken me aside and said, we're going to wrestle. For me to learn leverage, and it's hard to explain to people, but at 5'9", if you don't have leverage, you're not going to do well with 6 and 5 guys, because you're just not. You don't understand that. I've preached this to a whole bunch of people in my life. Wrestling is one of those. It's almost like a dance, and it became a dance to me, and that's exactly how Dick explained it to me, and it was, and it became that, and because it's just you and the other guy, and so you got to dance. You can hold hands. I mean, you can just spar and just butt heads, or you can dance, and the dance is how fast are you versus him, and that was the cool thing. And I learned that. How to dive, how to go in, out, and that when I got to college, that's where I actually used that. So,
speaking of college, how do you go from Marietta, Ohio, out to California?
That's an interesting story. Tom Stubbs was my dad's assistant head coach at football at Marietta College. He was the assistant baseball coach at Marietta College. Tom left about 3 years in and went to Pacific. And he became the head baseball coach at Pacific. I'm graduated, I'm done, boom, boom, boom. I'm going up to Otterbein. I've got a scholarship to go to Otterbein. Everything's cool. It's one of those things. I'm going to play baseball and play football. I'm taking a couple of guys with me. We got a call from Tom Stubbs, July about 15th of 1966. He had a number 1 drafted catcher by the name of Joe Ferguson, who was drafted number 1 by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, I played baseball also. He knew that, and he loses his catcher. So I was actually getting recruited to play baseball.
Boy, it turns into a small world, doesn't it? When you really think about it.
So I'm still only 17. I graduated when I'm 17, right? And they want me to come out, but I couldn't travel alone. And this is how weird this is. So I had to travel. Never been on an airplane. And I get on the plane and they fly us out. I'm thinking everything's on the beach. And all I saw was mountains. And all I saw was a desert. That's all the flying. Okay. And then we finally see water. And when we fly into San Francisco, we're picked up by the baseball crew, and they drive us back over the mountains we had just come in on. And I leave San Francisco at 70 degrees, and I end up in Stockton, California, and it's 102. Instead of being on a beach, I'm in the peat dust capital of the world. Mom, Marilyn, which is Tom Stubbs' wife, are great friends. They're off. They go off, and I am met not by Tom Stubbs. I am met by a guy by the name of Buddy Ryan. That man became my mentor at Pacific. Buddy Ryan, and he says to me in a southern accent, he says, "Son, you ain't gonna be no baseball player here. You gonna play for me, and you're gonna be a linebacker.
That is something.
I just flew 2,800 miles, thinking I'm gonna meet Tom Stubbs. I'm gonna meet all these baseball. No, I mean I had everything. I mean I was going to Hunter by man, and everything was done. It was signed, sealed, delivered, and I get on a plane, and they say no. My mom dumps me in Stockton, California, and that was it. I never.
That is pretty good stuff. You know, you go through and you excelled in baseball and football out there, and then just take us through your life a little bit after that. I know you're in Baltimore now.
I decided not to be a football coach. All I ever wanted to be was a football coach. And I decided to go into business. It becomes mundane after that, but quite frankly, we succeeded very, very well. I ended up having mentors in my corporate world by the name of Sandy Weil. That's one of those icons in New York. He bought our company. I had a great career, literally in the corporate world. I got to say this just a little bit. Baseball was my first love, and I really wanted to do that. It's just one of those things where when Buddy Ryan tells you, excuse me, it's a linebacker, you don't say no. I'll just say that.
I think that is just so great.
I learned from living with these guys and being part of the team, and that's what I taught. Was team building, and that's what I actually did. I mean, don't get me wrong, but that's what I did for a living. Okay. I was the point man when the corporation wanted to go buy another company. I was sent with my team, and we'd be the team that go in and actually decide whether or not we want to buy them, and then from that standpoint, absorb the organization. And that's what I did for a living. I actually did that for a living, and I loved it.
I'll tell you, I am excited. I am looking forward to meeting you in the stories. I know Bob Ferguson real well. Boy, it's going to be an exciting time, and I am just looking forward to maybe hearing a few more stories with you as well. And I can't say how much I appreciate your time tonight.
Hey, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.
My stories never end.
I hate to say it. I fall into that boat a little bit myself.
I mean, I swear to God, it's just the people that I've met that I owe them to have them named, because they're just people that formed my foundation. And I just think it's cool.
I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Casey Mead, Marietta High School class in 1966, and soon to be a new member of the Marietta High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Casey, thanks again for your time and congratulations.